device, device, device. So, let's talk about the word device. The part of speech for device is a noun, which means it refers to a thing or an object. In common usage, you'll often hear people use device to refer to a gadget or a machine that helps us with something specific, like a smartphone, a computer, or even something more specialized like a medical device. It can also be used in a broader sense to describe a plan or a strategy, like a clever device to get out of trouble. One special note about the usage of device is that it can sometimes have a slightly negative connotation, implying something artificial or contrived, so we should use it carefully in certain contexts. For example, saying, "She used a clever device to solve the puzzle," might imply that she cheated. But saying, "She created an innovative device to help people with disabilities," would have a much more positive tone. Here are 3 example sentences using the word device with their respective contexts. In a formal setting such as a scientific presentation, you might say, "The research team utilized advanced computer programming to develop a device capable of detecting subtle changes in atmospheric conditions." This sentence uses the word device to refer to a complex piece of equipment or technology. Context explanation. A scientist presenting research on a new weather monitoring system would use this formal tone and terminology to convey expertise and authority. In a casual conversation with a friend, you might say, "I'm really excited about my new gadget. It's a device that translates languages in real time so I can finally understand what my grandma is saying when she talks to me on the phone." This sentence uses the word device to refer to a small electronic tool or appliance. Context explanation. A friend talking to another friend about their personal experiences and interests would use this casual tone and everyday vocabulary. In a business setting such as a meeting with investors, you might say, "Our company is investing heavily in research and development of new devices that can improve energy efficiency in urban environments." This sentence uses the word device to refer to a specific technological innovation or solution. Context explanation. A business professional discussing investment opportunities in corporate strategy would use this formal tone and technical vocabulary to convey confidence and expertise. So you want to know about something that helps people communicate with each other in a really cool way? It's a small, portable thing that you can hold in your hand and use to connect with others over long distances. One of its main characteristics is that it has a tiny screen on which you can see messages from friends, family, or even total strangers who share similar interests. You can also use it to send messages back, kind of like sending a letter, but way faster. Similar concepts or synonyms for this thing might include phone, gadget, or even computer. Although it's much smaller and more portable than those things, people use it to stay in touch with others, get information on the go, play games, listen to music, and lots of other fun stuff. Devote, devote, devote. The word devote is a verb that means to give your time, attention, or energy completely to something or someone, often with a sense of enthusiasm or commitment. Commonly used in phrases like devote oneself to, devote one's life to, or simply devote some time to. It implies a strong dedication and willingness to prioritize the thing or person you're devoting yourself to. For example, she devoted her entire summer to studying for the exam, or he devoted his weekends to volunteering. What's interesting about this word is that it can have a slightly stronger connotation than just saying, spend time on something, implying a sense of purpose and priority that goes beyond casual involvement. So if someone says, you're devoting yourself to your hobbies, it means they take up a significant amount of your time and energy. I'd be happy to help you with examples of how to use the word devote in different contexts. So, for instance, in a formal setting, such as a university lecture or academic journal, you might say, the researcher will devote the next 2 years to studying the effects of climate change on coastal ecosystems. This sentence implies that someone is dedicating a significant amount of time and resources to a specific task or project. In contrast, in a casual conversation with friends over coffee, you might say, I've been thinking about taking up painting again, but I don't know if I'll be able to devote the time it needs. Here, the word devote implies that you're willing to give something your full attention and effort. In a business setting, such as a meeting with colleagues or investors, you might say, we plan to devote 20% of our marketing budget to social media campaigns this quarter. This sentence shows that resources are being allocated to a specific area of focus, which can be useful for goal setting and decision making. So you want to know what devote means? Well, when we say that someone devotes themselves to something, we're saying that they give their full attention and energy towards it. They make it their top priority and commit to doing their best in that area. Mainly, it's about putting your heart and soul into something, whether that's a hobby, a cause, or even just a daily routine. It's like setting aside time each day to focus on what matters most to you. Similar concepts might include words like dedicate, commit, or pursue. They all sort of mean the same thing. And when we use it in a sentence, like, she devotes her Sundays to volunteering at the local animal shelter, we're showing that she's making time and effort for something she believes in. Diminish. 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 The word diminish is a verb that means to become smaller or less in amount, degree, or intensity, commonly used in academic, professional, and formal contexts. It often expresses a gradual decrease or reduction in something, such as the size of an object, the number of people attending an event, or the level of noise pollution. For example, the company's profits will diminish if they don't change their business strategy. Note that when used in this way, diminish typically implies a decrease by a significant margin, rather than just a slight reduction. Additionally, be aware that diminish can sometimes carry a slightly negative connotation, implying a decline or setback rather than a neutral decrease. As such, it's generally used to describe situations where the change has some kind of impact or consequence. In formal writing, you might use diminish to describe how something's impact is reduced, such as, the implementation of new environmental policies aim to diminish the negative effects of pollution on local ecosystems. Here, the context explains that the focus is on formal or official language used in writing. Moving on. In casual conversations with friends, you might use diminish to talk about how a problem or issue becomes less significant over time, such as, the team's morale started to diminish after they lost their last game, but I'm sure they'll bounce back. This context is informal and conversational, implying that the speaker and listener are discussing everyday life or social issues. Lastly, in business or academic writing, you might use diminish to describe how a particular factor affects an outcome or process, such as, Studies have shown that increased levels of stress can diminish worker productivity by up to 20%. This context is professional or scholarly and implies that the speaker or writer is discussing specific data or research findings. So, you're trying to learn this word that means when something gets smaller in amount or importance. Let me try to help you with that. When we say that something is going to diminish, what we mean is that it's going to get less over time. For example, if you have a big pile of books and they start disappearing one by one, the pile will gradually become smaller. The main characteristic of this word is that it implies something is being reduced or worn away slowly. You can think of similar concepts like reduce, decrease, or shrink. All these words convey the idea of getting smaller in some way. In terms of usage, when we want to describe a situation where something is losing its value or effectiveness over time, we often use this word.